Hello, my name is Tony G. Welcome. Take a comfortable seat. Please close your eyes. Let's connect to the breath here. Begin to listen to your inhales and exhales and count the breath in 3 to 4 counts up. A little pause at the top, 3 to 4 counts down. We'll just take a minute here to settle in. And feel the breath fill up into the rib cage, right? Today's class is called The Body is the Temple, and it is. From the 4 corners, from the hips to the shoulders, let the breath wave all the way up and fill you. With each exhale, keep that lift. You can even draw the chin down a bit, and the upper palate draws back, and see if that helps your Ujjayi pranayama and that length of the 3-4 count in, and then back around on the exhale, creating this nice circle of breath. And draw the hands to the heart. Bow your head. Thank you for being here. Release your hands, open the eyes. And let's start on tabletop pose, all 4 please. Hands and knees. You can just, from here, make sure the hands are shoulder distance apart. Wrist crease parallel to the front of the mat. And then just spread the fingers and just can move the hips a little bit. Begin to breathe and tuck the toes under. There we go. And then when you're ready, with your next inhale, slowly use your breath and float your way up to downward facing dog. So you folks at home, do a little visual and take a look up at the hands and make sure, right, the fingers are spread and the hand is flat, especially the inner edge of the hand. This is really going to help the shoulders, the upper part of the temple, right, by pressing the hands. And now pull the hands towards each other and begin to open through the upper back and see if you can get an extension out through the neck. Very nice. Now put a bend in the knees. Keep pressing down through the hands. Lift the inner edge of the arm, right? Because I want to dump a lot of the time. So lift up and then open up. Now with the knees bent, right, you're going to take your hips and you're going to see if you can take your belly towards your thighs. Keep the legs bent as you're doing this. There you go. Now here's the bottom part of the temple, the hips. Hips and shoulders, that's what we'll be working in this class. Straighten the legs without rounding the lower back. Very nice. Inhalation, come forward to plank pose. Exhalation, lower down, chaturanga. Come back to tabletop if you need to. You folks at home, right? Inhale, rise up, cobra. You can modify, and you can move through the poses, right? You come to up dog here, and then you can come back to tabletop if needed. From here, you can lift the knees, so everybody slide back to tabletop, and then slowly back to downward facing dog. Those of you who want your practice to be a little spicier, you can go back through chaturangas. And then for the rest of the class, right, you just build like this. You'll be mindful. Now, turn the awareness to the inhale, exhale. Back to that slow, steady Ujjayi breath. You can count your breaths. 1, 2, 3, right? The exhale, 1, 2, 3, and get that rhythm going. Beautiful. And one more time to warm up the body. As you come forward this time to plank pose, see if you can inhale, come forward to plank, and let your head move right away from the hips and open up in the upper back here. Keep the belly lifting up towards the sky, and then slowly lower down, chaturanga, one more time. Beautiful with the breath. Very nice. And then inhale, rise. So keep the feet heavy, and right, hips weighted, and then you're going to lift up, breathe up through the waistline, and transition downward facing dog. So I'm a firm believer in, if you take a few of the classes that I'll be offering, you'll see if you bend the legs, so bend the legs and take the knees. One of the greatest ways to just warm up the body right here. Shoulders, you can see the arms start working, biceps, triceps, the legs, right? Push your feet together. You get the quads to turn on, and then you get the hamstrings to turn on. Then from here, take the head towards the hands. Very nice. Listen to your breath. And this is that little place where we get into this ball of energy. This creates the muscle, and then we're going to extend the muscle tight in both the hips and the shoulders. Step up to the top of your mat. You can walk or take one big step. Inhalation, look forward. Exhalation, fold. Feet can be together, hip distance. Put a bend in your legs, and then inhale. Come right into Utkatasana. Bring the hands up. Beautiful. So what starts to happen here often is the head, if you actually watch, the head and shoulders will draw in towards the pelvis. So bring your hands to your hips. And then from here, right, keep the legs, actually take your hands to your thighs. So you can feel the thighs working. Pull the feet together, right? The knees are stacked right over the ankles here. And then take the shoulders back, right? And now see if you can open up through the upper back. Beautiful. Now take the arms up one more time. And watch that the head doesn't move down, you open up. Inhale, and exhale, fold forward, touch the earth. Very nice. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, bow. If you need to keep a bend in your knees, do so. One more time. Inhale, come on up, bend the legs, hands on the hips. There you go. Right into Utkatasana. Take the hands behind the back. So for you folks at home, if it's too much, you can use a strap or interlace the hands. If you can get the heel of the hand together, do so. Take the shoulders back here, and now we're going to start, right? You're working the legs. Squeeze the legs to the midline, right? But then press out through your hips without letting the knees splay. And then from here, press the hands together and then open up through the upper back. And see if that helps deepen the breath. From here, very nice, fold forward with your legs bent. There we go. And then you can start to straighten the legs and extend the arms. The breath is absolutely beautiful in here. Keep it flowing, full. And release the hands to the earth. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Okay, here we go. Step the right foot up between your hands on your exhale. And inhale, draw the hands to the hips. Good. So you can feel the now, right, we're working standing poses, bottom part of the temple. Bend that back knee like we did in the downward facing dog. That starts to fire up, heat the quad, heat these muscles, right? We're going to heat them, and then we're going to build them and stretch them today. Slowly, bring the hands up and bring them up into temple pose, right? With your hand, you're creating a temple, and then press the hands together, and then press out through the shoulders. Now keep this, straighten the back leg, and then straighten the arms, and then listen to the breath. You can see here, the belly draws back, and as it does, right, there should be a lift and an expansion up through the chest. Take a deep inhalation, and exhalation, release, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank pose. That's right, so keep the belly lifted here. Exhale, lower down chaturanga. Now as you, right, inhale, rise up. As you get tired, sometimes what happens is the head starts to, and shoulders move together, so you got to keep the upper back opening, lengthening through the sides of the neck. Downward facing dog. Inhalation. Exhalation, step your left foot up between the hands. Inhale, draw the hands to the hips, right? And then you can bend the back knee, and that will help set the femur bone into the hip socket. And then when you're ready, straighten that out. Hands back up. If you can just reach up, that's great. If you're feeling a little pressure in the neck here or the shoulders, right, you just press. You've got to learn to create these actions, pressing your hands together to open up through the upper back, the collarbones. The lungs sit up there. Get a nice full breath. That's it. And then reach up through the arms. Get the arms straight all the way up through the fingertips. Inhale. And exhale, release, downward facing dog. Nicely done. That's it. Very nice with the neck, Celine, Amanda. And inhale. And exhale, step the right foot up between the hands. All right, so in between, you take a moment here, reconnect to the breath, turn the back heel down. Draw the right. You can leave right fingertips outside the leg or right hand to the thigh. We're coming to side angle pose. Take the left hand to the hip. Just right. So now we're opening up the legs, we're strengthening them and opening them. From here, if you need a block at home, you can lower the hand down. I would turn the left hip, try this, turn the left hip down and see if you can slide the right hip under, and then maybe look down at the toe, and then reach the top arm up. Then from here, if you're going to turn up, keep the belly moving down towards the floor a bit, and then look up under the arm. There you go. Listen to the breath. All right, so we're warming up, getting these four corners, legs. And then even here, same thing. Imagine there's a hand under your left hand. How do you create a resistance to open up? And what this does is it really starts to shift the way then, right? The organs, the glands, the physiology of the body, what's pumping through you, how you begin to see and perceive the world. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, release, downward facing dog. Nicely done. Inhalation. Exhalation, step the left foot up between the hands. Back heel down. And build the pose. So if you're at home, right, you can take the left forearm to the thigh. And I like to, in a lot of the classes that I teach, to hold poses a little bit. Why? Because it allows, one, your muscles to start to engage, but also that you get to sort of go to this next place where things get to settle in a bit. And really, if the body is a temple, and as you're sitting in the pose, take your arm up when you're ready. What happens then is you can really start to let these new muscles take memory, right? It's like you're remodeling the house as you're living in it. That's what's cool about it, right? And the breath, right? It's like, so you just let the breath flow through. And that's why you always watch the breath. It's a great indicator. If you can't breathe, you're probably too deep in the pose. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, release, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Step the right foot up to pigeon pose. So there's your warm-up. So from here, you can draw the right foot in. I encourage, if you have any knee stuff going on, right, pull the foot in, point the foot, and then press the toes down so the base of the shin opens. Slide the right hip back, right, and then from here, slowly come out, come forward. Come to the forearms. Some of you guys can even go down. You can make two fists and rest the forehead. You can even walk the hands forward. Beautiful. And from here you see the hips, that right hip slides back, right? Now the hips, we're beginning to get some nice opening. We warmed them up, now we're going to begin to open them. And the left leg here, you're getting a lot of stuff in the hip flexors here, which will be nice. And then on the right hip, the outer edge of this outer edge of the right hip, you begin to open. And let the breath flow up, and then up through the upper back. Something that may assist you and help you at home is to press the top of the left knee down, then press the top of the right foot down, drag the left knee, press it down like 2 inches in the floor and forward, and then slide the right hip back. And that scissoring action will create the muscle, right? And then the muscle stretch, and now press back out, and then we're going to stretch muscle. That's what we're doing in yoga, right? And building our own temple. We're integrating it, and then we're expanding on it, right? Pulling it together. That's what muscle is. It's fascia. It pulls, right? It webs itself. And then you take it. How far can it stay and be resilient and hold the temple with good alignment? Press back, downward facing dog. It's good. We had to get out of there. Lee almost fell asleep. If you feel you practice yoga the last few days, you may feel when you step that leg back, so like your dog getting up, you got to shake it out. Step your left foot up between your hands. Good. Build. This practice too, the bottom and the top, so begin when you're ready to fold out. If you can really think of the inhale, the exhale, yoga is based on, right, these opposite energies, finding balance. This, right, inhale, exhale. In this particular case, if you can, do a breath called Samavritti, and it means equal breath, right? And inhale for 1, 2, 3. You would exhale for 1, 2, 3. Let's do it together. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Exhale, 3, 2, 1, and continue that on, right? And this is what yoga is trying to teach us, is how to create these patterns. Then the patterns just begin to move on their own. And this is really what's cool. What is then designing the temple of the muscle in the body? What's moving muscles? The mind. What is fueling the mind? The breath. Where'd it go? Even at home I can hear it got a little soft. Come on. See, the thing with breath is, I'm totally into breath, but these guys, they breathe a lot. I know when I practice with them, they get real serious when they breathe. So you've got to try to keep fun with serious. Yes, see these moving her fingers. The joy is rising up. And press back, downward facing dog. Very nice. And let's come on down to our knees. And then why don't you just sit back, and we're going to come to a pose called figure 4 pose here. And you're going to take your right ankle on the top of your left knee. So you folks at home, right, if your hips are tighter, this is totally cool. This is where the next few poses will come out of for you. You'll just sit like this. And if it's too much, if your lower back's rounding out, you got to lift up on something, try to get the hips back. Then you can stay here. This is phase 1. Phase 2 would be take the left foot across, flex the toes, so press with the inner edge of both feet, and let the leg open. We'll come to Agni Sambhasana, fire log pose. So here's what it looks like if you're tighter, and is you start to bring the foot under, right? The bottom leg has to go down, and then this can stay up. But if the feet are sickling, stop, lift up, reconnect to the feet. This will keep the knees safe, and this is then how the femurs plug into the hips, then to literally ground the bottom of the temple. Very nice. Work the top foot, pressing through the mound of the big toe a little more. There you go. You really have to work it. You see this? How it's smooth? The foot will want to do this. You got to press through the inner edge of the foot, pinky toe side of the foot towards the knee. And then from here, hands behind. If you're really open, feel free to go forward. Now, here's a cool thing. Most people say, well, you're just working the hips here, aren't you? I was like, well, you could be working the shoulders, upper part of the body, right? So wherever you are, just take your hands, and you can put your hands together, right? Make a soft fist, and then put the other hand over the top, and then create a resistance there, and then press out through the shoulders, right? So now you're engaging the arms, biceps, triceps, the pecs, all the way around to the back, and this thing it's almost like a shoulder guard. It engages it, and then it opens it up. Does that make sense to you, ladies? Good. And then when you hold that, then see if you can do that and continue to breathe, right? Because in the temple, you literally make more space in the body between the rib cage. I always like to see like the rib cage is like a beautiful little nicho where you'd put a candle, right? And every time you breathe, the ribs move and more light can go through, and then, right? And then they soften, and then they lift again. And you're stretching just through prana. And inhale slowly, come up. Take the left foot and come to the other side. So this is a wonderful pose because it really gets, especially on this top leg, you can feel the outer rotators here. It really works that. Now from here, stay here or fold. Right? Same thing with the feet. Some of you at home, what you can do is you can lift up a little bit, and you can move your right hip over to the right side of your mat, place it down. So let's do this here, lift up. Take the right hip to the edge of the mat, and then come and sit down. You see how that creates an inner rotation, and the thigh slides over? Then this front leg, this leg gets more outer rotation. So this one's getting more inner and slides this way. This one gets more outer, so you can start feeling the sit bone, right? Move down, and then breathe. So 30-minute practice to wake up, legs, arms, engage them, stretch them. And in between the whole time, all webbed together with the beautiful inhale, exhale. They make it look easy here. So at home, just, try to look at your face right now, right? What's your face doing, or your eyes? And if it's real intense, you're probably too deep in. So go steady. Make sure that top foot doesn't fall asleep, so you're pressing through the mound of the big toe. There's a lot to, right? There's so much to pay attention to. You got the feet and the breath, and there's so many pieces at yoga, and it takes a while to learn how to do that, to start to really, right, have a practice that is flowing and integrated. And that feels like about the same amount of time. And release. All right. Please come to your knees. Utkatasana. So here's the thing. At home, if you have any injuries or anything going on, you can do bridge pose and come to your back. Right? It's sort of Utkatasana on your back, or camel pose. But we're going to come into camel pose, hands on the hips. So take a nice full inhale. And keep the lift, and then exhale, release. Take your right hand back. Start with just the right hand, right? If this is too much, you have the toes tucked under. If you're really open, you can do the feet flat. And then take the left hand back, right? And then from here, the tendency is, you see how the shoulders and the hips want to get tight. And see if you can move your lower leg together and then open up through the hip without splaying in the knee. And then take that breath all the way up into the shoulders. Lengthen through the back of the head. You can see how the breath just comes on up and breathes, just right rocking out from the center. Big waves of energy. That's beautiful. You can see in the rib cage and right up into the solar plexus, all this is opening. Watch the neck, the head's not dumping, so draw the chin a little down, upper palate back, and then take the head back. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale, come and sit on the heels. And just pause for a moment. You can turn the toes flat here. Just sit. This class is really to balance the upper and lower body, the inhale, exhale. So we're just keeping it nice and smooth. Samavritti breath, the same breath, right? This idea of vritti, the fluctuation, and the same, and we're trying to even these two things out to create a nice long breath, the inhale, the exhale. One more time, inhale, come on up. Your choice, toes tucked under. Now we'll do one more. And then when you're ready, start with the breath. So fill the temple. Before you even move, see how full can you get the temple with your own breath at home. Inhale. Beautiful. And now take the arms back, right hand, or you could do the opposite hand, left hand. Yeah, and once again, if you can hear the breath, these ladies breathing, it's so beautiful. It's so full. And so let that be your marker and your measure, your own breath. Not about saying, oh, well, they look like that. Should I look like that? You could, but just make it fit into your body, right? And they do that by watching the breath and building poses with the breath. Good. Now take the belly back, Michelle, and then lift up through the waistline. Yes, there you go. You see how the belly wants to pop forward here? So you got to really keep the legs strong. Pull the belly up like a marble rolling through the belly button, and then you're drawing it up through the spine, into the back of the neck. Nice, Amanda. And beautiful. Come on out. And sit all the way down. Take the right leg out. Actually, we'll do something fun here. One of my favorite poses. Take the left leg over, so the left knee stacks over the right leg. One of the longest yoga pose names, Ekapada Gomo Ka Paschimottanasana. You can take the hands behind. Ekapada Gomo Ka Paschimottanasana. That's long. Legs, you can stay here, hands behind. Here, we're working the hip again. And then here, a lot of times when folks say, well, this is a forward fold, and yes, it would help the hips, but what about the upper body? Well, create resistance wherever your hand is. You can take it on the shin, pull, right? Press, pull the leg, so you're plugging in, and then open up through the upper back, and then fold accordingly with the breath, so you can keep it full. I personally feel a lot in the right leg and the hips here, but everybody will have different places. If you're a runner or you're doing a lot of exercise, you'll probably feel it in the calf. And what's cool is that hamstring, right? That fascia connects with the calf runs down under the foot. So all of this band, you're getting a beautiful stretch here. Work the top foot, the left foot. You see how the toes want to sleep here? Press them into the floor. You can lift the heel a little bit. Get nice length. And then watch in the back of the head, and you're looking here with Lee, so the cervical spine, right? You can see when it hollows out, like you could put, like there's a nectar that could fill that space when all the vertebrae go in. Rather than it rounding, you see them all go in, it goes boom, and there's a little hollowing. And that really requires you to work the upper and lower part of the temple to make that happen. And inhale, rise. And then take the left foot forward. And then, if you're newer to this pose, right, it's a little, sometimes you're like, wait, what is this? The knee stacks right over, right? The foot's flexed. You can point it if you need to. Try to create same thing, no sickling in the ankle. The left foot straight up, hands behind. See, these landmarks are key because it really does affect when you learn how to place these things. Fold forward, please. The landmarks are key. If you really look at the body, what's moving the temple, and a lot of times it's the pieces on the outside that can help, right? Because we're made up of 206 bones. What's moving those bones? Muscle, right? So then the way it's all like leverage, this is what really the yoga is, it's leverage, right? And how are you moving the bones to plug into the hips, the shoulders, the sockets to create, right, this amazing, the biomechanics, which is the science of movement. And that's why from the periphery, how much the hands and feet affect the corners of the temples. And that's why we pay such attention to it and we're mindful of it. A couple more long breaths here. Just abide in the breath, like the dude. Trying to get these guys to have a little fun. They're real serious. And inhale, rise up. Take the left leg underneath, the right leg over the top for Ardha Matsyendrasana. So the right hip for some of you, if you're a little tighter, it may come off the floor. You got to see if you can press, right, the right foot, inner edge of the right foot down, pull the right hip. And then I would tell you, if you're newer to yoga, wrap the arm. If you're more advanced, there's a lot of variations. And if you know those, feel free to do a bind, whatever it is you choose. Right fingertips behind. Keep pulling that right hip down, wrap and pull the leg to the midline as you lift up with the inhale. And then exhale, you can twist a little deeper. Even here as we're rounding down, we only got a short amount of time left, and you look and go, wow, can you make your breath even from the beginning to the end and make it sound the same? And can you even make your inhale sound like your exhale? Just do this last pose here. And inhale, come on out. And then the other side. Right leg underneath, left leg on top. Sometimes, once again, the right hip can get scooped under, so if you lift up and you slide the right hip over and you come back down, this will move and it'll create that inner rotation of the bottom leg. So from here, and then wrap the arm and begin to twist and breathe. And don't force the twist, build the twist with the breath. And what's very interesting is why, you can focus on any part of yoga, from the philosophy to the biomechanics. When you look and you can get the body lined up though, and you get the hips and the shoulders working, right, and everything is in its right place, I have found really you get this amazing hit of yourself. And so it's almost like what happens is you become neutralized. Things that were maybe bothering you seem to fall away. It's not, I used to think something would be added, and then I realized it's just like everything's okay, right? The heart's cool. The mind's steady, it's not fluctuating, jumping all over, and the body feels good. And you put that together, heart, mind, body, you web that triangle, and it really does create magic in your own body. A couple more breaths. They like that statement so much they stop breathing. And slowly come on out. Sit however you would like right now, cross-legged or Take a lotus, whatever your choice. Please bring the hands to the heart. Thank you so much for sharing today. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.